We all believe a lot of things. Big things like, is there a God? And little things like, is the pie shop open on Monday? Much of the time we just know these things. But today, I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself, how do you know?
Distinctions for Life, helping you get what you really want in life with small changes that make a big difference.
Welcome to Distinctions for Life, where I help you get what you really want in life with small changes that make a big difference. I'm your host, Ron Davis. If you would like more advice, visit my website at distinctionsforlife.tv. I started a series in October on questions, because knowing the right question is halfway to finding an answer. Questions that we've already talked about are, what problem are you trying to solve? And how will you know you are done? I will put a link to those in the description, and a playlist to this series will appear here and at the end of the video. We're going to continue this series today with the question, how do you know? When we ask this question, we are trying to determine why we believe something is true. You see, all of our actions are based on what we perceive to be true. The problem we run into in life is that we often believe things that are holding us back, or we are acting on flimsy or expired information. So let's dig into the question, how do you know? First, what is your source? The first way to answer this question is where you learn something from. In today's world of way too many information sources, we generally choose where and what we learn. And this may seem like a good idea. There are people you trust, and so you listen to them exclusively. The problem is, if they are wrong, you are wrong. And it also leads to you amplifying your biases. If you listen only to the people you already agree with, you won't find counter information. There's a lot of talk about authoritative sources these days, which is great for scientific, completely fact-based information. If you want to know what the scientific community thinks you should do about COVID, then you should look at what the CDC says and not some distant aunt on Facebook. Of course, the problem is many problems are not fact-based. Who you should vote for or are you good at something are questions that you can't ask the CDC about. In these cases, you still need to examine your sources, but not just for accuracy of information, but for relevance. Who you should vote for is not scientific, even if your favorite news site claims it is. It is based on a complex mix of your values, social constraints, and many other factors. Whether you are good at something is even more nuanced. If you think you are a bad writer, for example, how do you know that? What is your source? Are you the source? Do you read what you write and think it sucks? If so, maybe you should get some more feedback. Did some high school teacher tell you that you were brilliant, but no one likes what you write now? Maybe your teacher was correct then. You were great compared to your classmates, but now you're in a world of way too much content, and the competition is a lot higher. Once you've examined your source, then you need to ask, what are your assumptions? Even when we are trying to be rational, especially when we are trying to be rational, we have underlying assumptions that may be wrong. Let me explain. When you build an argument or a case for something, you take some facts and you put them in a logical order. If X, then Y. If Y, then Z, etc. This is a simplified version, but I assume you get what I mean. The problem is we often base whole arguments on a false assumption. Or we just react based on an argument backwards without examining false connections. Let me try a simple example. Say you meet someone who is very hard to understand because they often pronounce words wrong and have bad grammar. A fast assessment might be that they aren't very smart. I mean, it's obvious, right? They can't even make a good sentence. And if they can't do that, then there is something wrong with their brain or they are uneducated. And these are false assumptions. Another possibility is that they don't speak your language. Or you may be correct that they are uneducated, but a lack of schooling don't mean someone ain't smart. I'm not sure that is the best example or the best accent, but understand you need to question your assumptions if you want to know how you know something. This is also why it is good to read other people's opinions on things. They lack your assumptions or have different ones, and this can make it clear where you are doing the assuming. But when it comes down to a fact that you and someone else disagree on, you need to be asking for evidence. What is evidence? Oh, that all our questions could be answered with verifiable, quantifiable facts. But alas, many of them can't. It is hard to quantify something like, are you a good writer? If your teacher reads something you wrote and likes or dislikes it, does that prove anything? If millions of people read it and like it, does that make it good? And now we're back to the realm of defining good, and I have a series on words that might be helpful with that. But occasionally something is truly confirmable by the evidence. For instance, you can find out if the pie shop is open on Monday by looking at their website. For more complex issues, even if there is evidence, that doesn't mean that it's good evidence. The most dangerous words in modern society are, I read a study. It says that the conclusion has been blessed by the priests of science and should never be questioned. But anyone who has read scientific studies knows that there is a lot of examination that needs to be done of the evidence and the conclusions reached from it. So question of the day, how do you know? By asking yourself and others this question, you can begin to overcome limiting and false assumptions about life. You'll also probably discover things aren't as simple as you thought, and that might give you a little more compassion for people on the other side of the big debates of our age. We will be continuing our series on questions next week, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. This channel is all about helping you get what you really want in life with small changes that make a big difference. Until next time, I'm Ron Davis. Big things like, is there a God? And little things like, is the pie shop open on Monday? And did I hit the teleprompter to say go? Whoa, 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 stop, stop! Welcome to Distinctions for Life, where I don't like my feet where they're placed. Which doesn't make any difference to you guys, because you can't see my feet anyway.